Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be working on a craft project using mums. So if anybody that has leftover mums, this one's for you. So what I did is I first went and I just cut all of the pieces off, or a bunch of them, and then I pushed them down to flatten them so they're going to be easier to work with. And there's several things you can do with that, but I'm going to go through the rest of my materials first. One of the things I have harvested from my garden is Russian sage. And I've bundled it together with a rubber band just to kind of keep it, to tame it down a little bit. And I think what we're going to try to do is make a wreath out of the Russian sage as our base. We'll see if that works. The other thing I want to talk about are hydrangeas. This is Annabelle hydrangea, and you can see that they're two different colors. The whiter one is Annabelle hydrangea that went all the way through the winter and it bleached up from the sun. And I cut it off early this spring, and then I saved it in my garage. And the darker one is from the end of this season, so newer. So that's the difference between the two hydrangeas, and it's the same hydrangea but different ages. And this is just kind of pretty all on its own. You could actually just do a bouquet with just that. So I have a huge bucket of the year-old hydrangea, or the aged hydrangea here. The other things that I have gathered on my table here are, this is goat's beard. This is goat's beard. Just the dried flowers. And then of course I have some milkweed that I harvested. And then I have, this is Penstemon, or Beardtongue, I think. I think that's it. Penstemon or Beardtongue. And again, this has just got a unique foliage. The flower heads are kind of a neat texture. And then it's just a little bit different color brown. So we're going with the browns. And then I have some pieces of, this is Black-Eyed Susan that I picked. Again, I picked this year. And I did spray this with a little bit of glitter just because I wanted to see how it looked. Don't think it did a lot, but you could spray these different colors if you wanted to. And then I have, here I have, this is echinacea or purple coneflower. This is the head of that. As you can see, I gathered all of these materials I gathered from my yard or my garden. And so you don't need to go out and buy things if you can just simply go pick them out of your yard. So stay tuned, and we'll make a few projects with this. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is make some posies, some smaller posies, which is simply a collection of flowers, either fresh or dry. And I'm going to use the stiff part here is going to be simply some Russian sage. Is going to be my my backbone. I'm going to be grabbing it about there, and then I'm going to be adding some nice hydrangea to it. I'm going to pick the lighter colored hydrangea for the first one, or you could do one of each. You could do a light and a dark. It really doesn't matter. So you can see how that's starting to look. And then we'll add some mums to it. And I want the mums to be maybe a little bit taller. I have a lot of these purple mums, so this makes it really kind of nice. You can see just that little bit, how that really starts coming. I'll put some other ones a little bit lower in the bouquet. I'm going to alternate kind of back and forth. I want to get some more. Mums out in behind there, and you can see kind of how that looks. I mean, it's really starting to kind of come together. I mean, just like this would be probably nice, and then to tie them onto the wreath. But I'm going to add. Now I'm going to add some dried Penstemon flowers, or Beardtongue. I'm going to add some, and I'm going to stick them maybe a little bit more in front. Again, by doing these by doing these posies, you're giving yourself a chance to make some changes before you have to get tangled into tying them on the wreath, which could be kind of painful. So I'm going to put 3 of these in there. And then I have the Black-Eyed Susan. I'm going to add some of that in. Some of my purple coneflower, the seeds started coming off, and so it's not a huge problem. I can always trim out if I don't like the way it looks in the end. So put a little bit of this, a little bit of that in there. It's a nice bunch. And if I have too much up top, I can always tie it off. I think I might leave this one because I also have the goat's beard as well, which I could add a little bit of interest for that. I'd better off putting the tall ones in first. Got a little bit of goat's beard on there. And then maybe we'll put that behind. So you kind of get the idea of how that looks. And then I have this. Oh, that's kind of nice too. And then I have this milkweed that I can put in there. So you can see when I pull all of these materials together, it looks like a little bouquet, and that's kind of what I want it to look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rubber bands, and I'm simply going to grab it upside down. I'll have to cut that off first. And I want to be able to stretch the rubber band around it to hold it. And this is just a temporary holding. Something to temporarily hold it together. You don't have to use this. You can simply tie it together with other string and stuff. But you can see just that little posy looks pretty good. Cut it off. Just the posy by itself looks good. So if you wanted to do decorating with that, you could. So yeah, it's really quite amazing. Again, just all scavenged or foraged dried flowers from my gardens. So I'm going to spend some time making the rest of these, and then I'll come back. Okay, I'm back. So this was the posy I made, and I felt it was a little bit too big, and I really liked it a lot, so I decided to keep it to put in a holiday arrangement, like I don't know if I'll just let it sit on the table or if I'll put it in a vase. But either way, I'm going to set this aside, and I went and I made a bunch of smaller ones. So these are smaller posies. You see the difference in the size? Because these will work better to weave them in. So, and what I did is I selected 3 of the darker colored hydrangeas. I'm going to put them equally spaced around the wreath. And so I'm using a grapevine wreath is what my final decision was. And I started getting these things attached. So you can kind of see how it's starting to look, which is kind of nice. So we're going to leave the longer frilly ones kind of to the outside and put the other ones to the all the rest of them to the inside. So I'm going to need another white one, and I want one that doesn't have so much stuff on it. Maybe I'll pick this one here. And so what we're going to do is we are going to place this one to the inside. And I can always, if it gets to be too busy, I can always trim stuff off. But right now I'm going to hold it with my thumb. I'm pulling the wire really tight. I am using the wire. And this is 24 gauge wire. I got my finger underneath holding it right there. And I'm going to start twisting. You need all of your fingers and thumbs for this. So I'm going to get that first one looped over. and I'm holding it tight. My thumb is on the top here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to get my pointer finger underneath to hold it tight as I'm coming around. And I'm going to go 3 times, I think, around. 1, 2, this is my 3rd time around. And now I'm going to bring the next one. Again, I need the white, and I'm going to choose the one with some with the milkweed pods on it, because I think they're kind of nice. So we're going to pick that one. And we're going to come around here. Again, holding everything super, super tight, using all my fingers, outside fingers and toes, and keep wrapping. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Using everything, pulling really tight as I'm pulling this around. And then I'm going to add my next one going to the inside. And I'm kind of letting the hydrangea, you know, sit on the outside of this. We'll keep moving here. You really want to have a couple hours to do a project like this, because it does take time. So this next one I am going to use, coming down here, I'm going to use this darker, I'm going to use a darker hydrangea because I'm getting towards the bottom. So do I want to use it there, or do I want to use this one first? I think I want that one to go up the next side. So I'm going to use the dark hydrangea one. Again, I'm crossing it over so that this is pointing to the outside. I'm going to tighten this wire. I'm going to bring it up, around, up, around, 2, and I'm back. I had to go find my other paddle wire. It's on a much easier reel. So this is 24 gauge, which is a little heavier, and this is 26 gauge, which is, it'll work. I prefer to have it a little heavier, but we've got to start somewhere. So the first thing I'm going to do is tie this one and get the knot started. So you didn't get to see how I did that before, so I'm just going to do a loop around here. Again, I'm just going to do a loop, and then I'm going to go around it a few times. To get it secured. Now we're going to continue. So this one's going to point to the outside. And I'm going to go around this a few times. Depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed is going to be how you're going to go around. I'm right-handed going around the wreath counterclockwise. And I can't tell you how to do it if you're left-handed, because everybody's got their own way of doing it. You have to just do what's comfortable for you. Okay, so now we want to continue. And we want this one to go kind of down and out to try to figure out which side I want. Again, I'm keeping with the hydrangeas since that helps to keep everything consistent. Okay, I had to go make a few more posies to get through the rest of the wreath here, and so now I'm going to continue putting these ones on. the next one. So that was outside, inside, this is outside. All right, I'm going to attach the last posy that I have here to kind of work it underneath the other, kind of the starting position. To get this tucked in such a way that it'll be hidden. Start and the finish will be hidden. I have to weave the wire in and out of the other posies in order to make sure that it's going to stay. It's not a simple task. I can tell you that I'm glad that I used rubber bands to hold the bundles together, because if I need to go in and put a few more pieces in to help fill it out, I mean, it's just going to be better doing it that way. Pulling it tight, as tight as I can. I'm gonna give me some slack here. I believe this is going to be the top of my wreath, so I'm going to cut a little bit extra long piece. Always wear glasses when you're working with wire. So I'm going to take some of my additional hydrangea and I am going to stick it in here just to fill in some of the bald areas. Got some baldness here and there. I'm just going to fill it in where I can. So I'm just going to, like I said, tuck it in there. I got plenty of bundles of things I can stick it through. So this concludes my holiday wreath from Foraged Materials for my garden. I love the color combination. I think it looks wonderful. I have to just figure out which side I want to be up, and I'll put a piece of twine or some jute on it, I think, and then I'll hang it on my door. If this video is helpful to you, give us a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share this content with others. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.